Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. So I put up a video yesterday and I had the wrong audio in the beginning, an audio that I was making a video yesterday for the Gratefullness meditation, and then, a bunch of things happened where I just decided to pull all my, dodgy heartfulness cult videos. I don't really love the word cult because people have, the idea of Jim Jones and these things when they say cult. And when I mean cult, a spiritual organization is a organization where the leader of the organization is a spiritual saint, spiritual master, and that person sacrifices their own needs for the betterment of the members, right? It's somebody who is sacrificing and serving the members, which is the case for the three first masters of the Sage-Mark system. And a cult leader is somebody who expects the followers to sacrifice themselves for the leader's wishes. And that's what's happened in the heartfulness debacle with Daji, this organization. So I it's not like what people think of a traditional cult, because it's not. It's not as much of a, people can quit anytime they want, and it's like a, kind of a lesser thing. But in, that definition, all religions are cults, right? Where their members are expected to sacrifice for the organization, if not the leader of the organization, right? And so, like, this is how I view, the idea of a cult. Real true religion or spiritual organization is sacrificing itself and, the people who will run it, the leadership, for the betterment of the people. And they are, doing spiritual work that is, comes from a place of service, right? But anyways, I have a whole story about that. And so I posted the wrong audio. The audio I was supposed to post was about more to do with the heart issues and things, which I've kind of overcome. So just information about that. And I was recommended a video this morning by Dr. Berg about how to get rid of a hiatal hernia. I want to share some from the video, but like just what I'm reading now, I have it open on my phone. But I just want to go back to say that I'm going to post a video on the Gratefullness meditation, sort of explain everything I sort of went through and learned, and where I'm at with the whole thing, and the reason I deleted the videos and all this. This is well, I don't know the title yet. I've got it. I got the videos, a big video. I opened it up, but he says the symptoms of a hiatal hernia, and that's like part of your stomach that pushes through the diaphragm, is indigestion, heartburn, bloating, nausea, shortness of breath, anxiety, heart rhythm problems, panic attack, and belching. And I guess there's a spasm there at the bottom, but it's not one of the and so if you're having those symptoms, like I think I had most of those symptoms. I don't know if I had any panic attacks, but I did wake up panicked when I had COVID, so that could be, I don't know. I'd wake up with like a sense of panic. It didn't happen very often, and not really since COVID, but the other symptoms I had, to one degree or another. The bloating and the things like that. And it happened when I had COVID, so I don't know if COVID caused it, I don't know. But it felt like my stomach was swelling and putting pressure on my chest, and then my heart got involved. And so, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not like, recommending anything. But in terms of the video is called Hiatal Hernia, the Best Home Treatment. So he has ways of dealing with the hiatal hernia. You can check out his video. It's 2 years old. But it was, goes with the other things I'm about to show you, and I showed you in my last video, in terms of, the idea that the heart isn't so much the heart arrhythmia that people are suffering from COVID might be caused by something to do with digestion of the stomach or something. And again, not a doctor, not recommending things, just sharing information that's been helpful to me. But like I said, I'll put a video up today for the Gratefulness meditation, and it will still explain everything. And I feel good about it all, like relieved. And I mean, it was a positive experience. I went through something a little bit with it, and it's the reason that I accidentally put the wrong audio in is that my videos on my other channels have suffered since I was doing this playlist about Daji's failure and the corruptness of the heartfulness system and Daji and his people. And I put together a playlist, and it's different than the other things that I do because it's personal. Like, I've had personal experience with the system, and I'm somewhat less bummed out, but I'm still at times bummed out by the fact that something that's so great helped all of us, helped many of us, has turned into what it's turned into, right? It's it's something that was great and now it sucks. I mean, it really sucks. Like, it's gone from something that was really great to really sucking. And that's a bummer. And so and just connecting with the organization and the energy that they have and the people, it's just so, like, it's not only a bummer, but it drags you down energetically. At least it does to me. So I again, I'm going to post that on my other channel today, hopefully today. And that's just an explanation. So I put up a video, and the audio came from a video I was already making, and it's an audio that I wasn't going to use because I was just drained, and there's some things that happened or whatever that I don't know. And so it was kind of a weird way to start the video because it wasn't an introduction. I don't think I said please. It was in the middle of a video I was already making. I put an audio in, and I put the wrong audio, and that's the kind of thing I do when I get really tired, or I mean, I just was trying to get the video done yesterday. But I want to put my energy back into the videos on this channel on the Apocalypse Now, and get away from the whole thing that I was doing there, because it just it was just had a negative effect on me. So anyways, that's the explanation for what happened yesterday. I deleted the video, but I'm going to repost the video here, and then with the missing audio that I meant to have in the beginning of the video. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so apparently I didn't save the audio, so that was what the problem was. I put the audio in that was supposed to be the audio, but I didn't save it. I didn't save the audio, so the audio I put in was from the previous video, which again I'm not making that video now, so it's like the whole thing. So what I was talking about was that my heart issues have more or less gone away. Because I addressed this in the previous video here on Pockets of the Future, that people were having heart arrhythmia, and I had it when I was had COVID, and then post-COVID I had weird things with my heart. Then mostly I think it was worse during Omicron, but I had a lot of swelling of my stomach, like my stomach was bloated, which I don't remember ever happening before, and it went on long past COVID. Like, it just I just had digestive problems. I ended up taking something, borium, and again, I'm not recommending anything here. None of this stuff is health advice. Like, I don't give health advice. I'm not a medical person or a healer. I just, learn things for myself. And, I posted a video talking about that, like, in the beginning introduction, because I knew some other people were suffering, and people are still leaving comments about they've suffered, or family members have suffered, or, whatever. And there's something going on with the heart. We know now, like, the heart is being attacked, and it doesn't have to be attacked directly. It can be attacked through your nervous system, or oftentimes people the cause of death will be heart failure or cardiac arrest or whatever, but that's caused by some other trauma to the body, and so that might be eventually how you die. Like, something has to stop, right? Like, your brain has to stop, your heart has to stop, right? You need, there's things that will kill you. Like, I mean, loss of blood or something like that. But how does your body end up ceasing to function? So the cause of death, what exactly was, what happened to, there might be other things, extenuating circumstances, right? They say a drug overdose is the cause of death. But what eventually caused your heart to stop? Because that's what really causes your death, when your heart stops, right? When you die, your heart stops. And, things in your body might make your heart stop, other things, other systems. But there's, you can live with without certain things, right? Certain organs. You know, you can't live without your lungs. You can't live if you can't breathe, right? You can't live without your heart beating. You can live without your, you know, you can live with kidney failure or liver failure for a short period of time. You know, these are things that eventually will cause your heart to stop or whatever. But in terms of the COVID and the bloop and all the other things, you know, 5G or whatever's happening now, people's hearts are not, you know, people are having issues with their hearts, and whatever causing that, whether it be a nervous system, whether it be some kind of, you know, whatever, hiatal hernia or something, we see that there's problems with the heart and it's affecting young people. And so, like, people have to, there's research out there, and, you know, I don't think we'll ever understand or get the information of what COVID actually does to people and actually what it is. Like, it seems to me like a biological weapon that's not meant to kill people. It's not fatal for the most part, but people are having long-term effects, health effects. I think it's going to attack people's reproductive system, which is also has to do with the heart, you know, particularly in men, and then all these other things, right? Weaken people, right? It seems to be something to weaken people, and, you know, have bizarre, you know, health reactions that can come out of nowhere, right? And so, I think you see an uptick in lots of chronic diseases, and there was always, you know, before COVID hit, there's an article talking about all these young people suffering. It was like a third of young people between, it was like 18 or 20 and 40 were suffering one chronic illness, and like 20% were suffering two. And so young people are, you know, having poor health. And then, of course, you know, things that go with it, mental issues and things, anxiety. And so people are lower and lower functioning. You know, my brother said in war, the enemy is much happier to wound people than kill them, right? Wounded soldiers, and, you know, and not only that, you know, soldiers coming back with, you know, physical disabilities because of what's happened to them in war is a drain on the economy of the country, right? It's a drain on the, you know, their ability to work. They're young people that are going to be saddled with health issues, and, you know, they suffered the health issues while defending their country or, you know, being a part of a military, so the government's on the hook for it. And it's a great way to, you know, I mean, look at the VA, and also psychological issues and PTSD. You know, it becomes a drain on the country. And where war and the, you know, the casualties of war, it's one thing if people die, you know, and it's just clean, but if they come back broken, and, you know, you're now financially, you know, financially responsible for them, they can't provide for themselves, right? Which is, you know, often the case. And so that's what, you know, militaries would prefer. And this is kind of what seems to be happening with COVID. Anyways, so this was, again, there was a mistake in audio, and I don't have to recreate it, but I've, you know, my exercise has gotten better, and I'm able to get my heart rate up without any issues. I was worried about it, like it becomes an issue. And that's the other thing. That causes stress and anxiety. If you have, you know, heart issues like arrhythmia in your heart, you see all these people dropping like flies, then you start, well, you know, and I don't trust the allopathic system because of my past experiences. And so, you know, what do I do, right? Like, I can't, you know, verify it. Like, my chiropractor told me, you know, he had a family friend, his wife's friend, who her husband went to get, he was like 40 years old, guy, you know, in good physical shape, and he went to get a stress test, you know, where they're prepared for people to have a heart issue, and he had a heart attack, or, you know, heart failure, and died. You know, he's a young guy, 40, you know, I mean, still 30s, 40s, I don't know. Young, on the younger side, and, you know, someone in good shape, and, you know, like 3 little kids and whatever, just from, you know, and so that's the world we live in now, where young people are, I may cover this on my other channel, young people are just exercising, and they get their heart rate up, and their heart doesn't, you know, isn't able to function. And so, you know, I feel like it seems like my situation is much better, and, you know, supplements and things that I've done. But, you know, like, we'll see how moving forward. A lot of people had given me remedies and things, which were, some of them were helpful, things that I had done before, but it's not been like as much of an issue. And, you know, there's all these other things that could be affecting it, you know, other organs, other, you know, whatever. We're not going to be able to get to the bottom of it from the official story of the people who are, you know, the COVID people, because the idea is a weakened population. I mean, that's the only thing I can, you know, we're moving towards depopulation, and the best way to do that is create problems with the reproductive system of young people and have the birth rates go down, which is already happening. You know, the death rates going up is one thing, but it's the amount of children being born that's the issue, right? It's the, you know, that's, they have to get the birth rate down. That's how you reduce population. Anyways, it's just, you know, I kind of recreated, I think, what I said yesterday. And here's the rest of the video. All right, so I showed you a chiropractor video that showed you this guy's another Dr. Sanjay Gupta, but a different one. And so this guy is saying gastric syndrome, heart palpitations caused by your stomach. And I didn't get a chance to watch this, and I don't know if I will, but this was the original video that the woman, this chiropractor, was referring to, right? And I know, like, there's so many comments I got from people that they're all suffering or other people are suffering, and, you know, there's information out there. There's no reason to, you know, to not kind of get a sense of what's going on, because it takes some searching, and, you know, a lot of things are, I mean, there's a differential diagnosis, but I don't trust the allopathic medical community, so that is whatever it is, but, you know, there's information out there, and there's different ways to look at it, and, you know, you're not going to get the truth about COVID anytime soon, and so, you know, and all the rest of it, right? This is what #1 remedy for heart palpitations. You know, like, I didn't watch this. I like Dr. Berg, but, you know, everything comes and ends with keto with him. But I watched a little bit of this. I sent it to my wife, and she was watching some of it. But there's just things out there. What I'm saying is, you know, you can look at the different theories and understanding about it, and nutrition-based solutions and whatever it is, right? So this goes along with amateur hour. This is Rick Pitino. Now, Rick Pitino, he banged some, you know, hoe in a, like, Denny's or bar or something, right? Like right there in the bar. And she gets pregnant. I think he was at Kentucky or Louisville or one of these schools. And she gets pregnant. And she's crazy. Like, she's nuts. And he's married, and it's going to cause problems. So his assistant coach marries her. Like, he had an assistant coach that just marries this girl to keep her quiet. And there was a whole scandal related to that. And then down the line, he's had recruiting scandals and giving players money and, you know, all these things. So he's bounced around from one school to another. And scandals have followed this guy wherever he goes. And he's done some seedy stuff. So he's ended up at St. John's University, which used to be a good basketball school, but lately it's been bad. And they lost a game, and he just throws his team under the bus in a total amateur hour move.
Even the Celtics, when we lost, I've enjoyed every minute being the Boston Celtic coach. Didn't like the fact that we lost in that following year, but this has been the most unenjoyable experience I've had since I've been coaching. Just thinking of getting ready for Georgetown, because Georgetown could definitely beat us. I don't think they move well laterally. I don't think they're going to pick it up in the next week. I think they're slow laterally. I mean, Sean Conway gives you everything he can. He's slow laterally. About 5 guys are slow laterally. I think they're very respectful. They hear, but they don't listen. It's taken me a month to get them to throw bounce passes. Actually, 2 months to throw bounce passes.
Now, everybody knows how to throw a bounce pass, so, you know, you learn that when you're, like, playing, you know, when you're in 3rd grade. I mean, bounce pass is one of the first things you learn. Certainly by high school, you're very familiar with the bounce pass. And let's say they got away from that. It shouldn't take them 2 months. I mean, he's saying they're unathletic, and now he's saying they're stupid.
Do you have any second thoughts of taking this job?
No, not at all. It's not St. John's. It's my team. I'm not even thinking of the future at all. I'm just thinking of the next game and the next game and the next game, and that's it. Just try to get as many wins as you possibly can and represent St. John's in the best fashion you can.
The ball cannot go over your head. Do you understand that now? I've repeated this 3 times. RJ, let it go over your head. Stop trying to dunk the ball. It's wide open. Lay it up and...
Okay, so, Rick Pitino, like, there's a lot of amateur hour stuff going on there. Putin makes surprise pick by backing Biden over Trump in rematch. More experience and predictable. I bet he does. I bet he wants Biden. Russian President Vladimir Putin made a surprising pick in the upcoming U.S. presidential election, saying he prefers predictable Biden over Trump, who complimented Putin over the years. Biden is more experienced and predictable person, a politician of the old school. But we work with any U.S. president who the American people have confidence in. That's kind of hilarious. I don't know what that's about. Like some gamesmanship here. Okay, so Biden got booed here. He's introducing his golden... not Biden, Trump.
Hello, everybody. So, thank you very much. And we have a few young ladies that are up here crying. Look at you with the Trump 2024. Thank you, darling.
Yeah, she's crying.
You too. Wow. A lot of emotion. There's a lot of emotion in this room. Thank you.
Boo.
Thank you. So nice. So the really nice thing is we have lines, and I want to thank Chase and I want to thank Alan, but we have lines going all around the block. They're going all around this block. They've never seen anything like this one. I just want to tell you, you know, I've wanted to do this for a long time. I have some incredible people that work with me on things, and they came up with this, and this is something I've been talking about for 12 years, 13 years, and I think it's going to be a big success.
Yeah, it's going to be a big success.
Influencers have been very positive. They've been real influencers, and they love it, and they love what we've done. That's the real deal.
It's an ugly shoe.
It's the real deal.
It's the real deal.
And we appreciate it. We really appreciate it. More than anything else, I appreciate the turnout, because they say they've never had a turnout like this, and we're going to do things that are terrific.
All right, so that happened.
It's the real deal.
You know, it's just like these are not good-looking sneakers, and they probably are cheap and hurt you. I think they're $500 for a pair, whatever. You know, I mean, it's a lot of this is going to be amateur hour today. Speaking of which, Hicky Naily.
And they decided to try and put a Palestinian in one of the highest positions that had ever been given at the UN. We said no, and we had him booted out. So then they tested us again, and a ridiculous report, the Falk report, came out. I don't know who the guy is or what he's about, but he's got serious problems. Goes and compares Israel to an apartheid state. So the first thing we do is we call the Secretary General and say, this is absolutely ridiculous. You have to pull it. The Secretary General immediately pulled the report, and then the director has now resigned. The days of Israel bashing are over.
Wow, she's such a sellout, and she's so unlikable. I mean, there isn't one politician. I mean, Fetterman's, you know, at least Biden and Trump are entertaining. You know, Trump, I mean, it gets old, right? It gets old with all these people, but, I mean, these guys are just a disaster. Like, she's so annoying and, you know, such a sellout, and just, I mean, it's, there's just nowhere, you know, there's nobody they're just unwatchable in all of it, right? Trump got his sneakers. Hicky Naily got her shekels. Ron DeSantis dishes on making Trump's VIP shortlist and why he's not ruling out a 2028 run. He ain't going to be vice president. And he mishandled this thing. You know, like he should have made a deal with Trump and said, I'll support you, but if you go to jail, then, you know, whatever. Or he could have signed on to be his VP early on. But he's so annoying. He killed his chance of being president by just being himself. Like, he could have just sort of backpacked on Trump, and then if Trump went to jail. But, like, no one knew he was that annoying. So, like, Hicky Naily is horrible. But, you know, this guy's a total joke. And so there's just no way he'll ever be elected. I don't think Hicky Naily, I mean, the candidates are just getting worse and worse. Not to be outdone by Trump sneakers, Kamala Harris releases line of golden knee pads. I have been calling her knee pads Harris for a while, so this is right in line with that. So there it is. Trump got his golden sneakers. Hicky Naily got her golden shekels. Kamala got her golden knee pads. And DeSantis got his golden platform shoes. Everyone's going golden in an amateur hour day. One of my viewers just sent me this. This is another apocalyptic commercial.
We can never predict or control what will happen in the world. But our first, most powerful instinct is always the same: to protect the ones we love.
Dude's president. And he's helpless. Wiping out the power.
To provide a sanctuary where they can be safe and secure, out of danger and out of sight. But with all the comforts of home and surrounded by their most precious possessions.
Boom. You got to build your apocalyptic fallout shelter now.
Oppidum creates underground living spaces that are highly secure and completely discreet, yet beautifully appointed and entirely bespoke. With everything you need.
This is big business now because, you know, people are aware of the apocalypse, and you can tell by one thing, I mean, lots of things, the moral breakdown and just all of it. But one thing is very telling in terms of where people's heads are at. They have tried to kill the real estate market over and over again by raising interest rates and making it hard for people to buy homes. And yet real estate prices keep on either staying where they are or going up. Unlike the real estate bubble and all these things that happened before, they're trying to drive down the real estate prices, but people are realizing that their cash isn't worth anything and that inflation is way worse than they're saying. And so they're looking for solid investments like real estate and, you know, whatever it is, gold, commodities, things like that. And as much as they try to drive those prices down, they can't. And so that shows you people are like freaked out.
Morning, Oklahoma. Maybe you're looking at your phone and it's saying SOS. What's going on? My husband had that this morning and he's freaking out. And I was like, did you do your phone updates? No, this is all happening at 3 a.m. So we did that. Coming to work. He's not the only one, guys. If you're experiencing that, it may be a result of space weather. Okay, I'm going to do my best to explain what's going on. Let's go ahead and take a look. So there was a strong solar flare event that happened just after midnight, and they actually captured an image of it right here, okay?
All right, so solar flares are blocked by Earth's magnetic field. And when the magnetic field goes down, it's supposed to invert itself in the near future. The poles are going to flip, and then solar flares can get through. And they can just destroy the electrical grid. They can wipe out all electrical data. I mean, this is like a major EMP type of situation. And it looks like it's already doing it to cell phones. And so if the magnetic field is weakened, which it might be, you know, we get hit with solar flares all the time we don't even know about because our magnetic field protects it and sort of acts like a Faraday cage to whatever extent, which blocks this stuff from interfering with all of our electronical gadgets. You know, it'd be probably good to get rid of all this stuff. We'd be better off. But, you know, once that happens, we're back to the Stone Ages. So I didn't get this video done till 7 o'clock. It's 7 o'clock now. I'm just wrapping this thing up. But I went to the chiropractor with my wife, and he asked me if we lost cell service. So it actually happened where I live. I guess it happened to Verizon, and I don't know because I don't go on my phone so much, and I'm usually would be on Wi-Fi. But if this was a solar flare and this is, you know, starts happening more frequently, that means the magnetic field is being weakened, and it's only a matter of time, right? So enjoy it while it lasts.
Our DNA holds 14 generations of lineage. How does that relate to our past lives? Great question. Let's unpack this. So I'm going to do my best to explain this, but let's just start with the basics. So,
okay, I'm not going to watch this. I don't. The music's annoying, but I wanted to talk about it here. So what I know about past lives, you know, I feel like I certainly have had past lives in India based on my experience. I believe I've had Native American past lives, and I think, you know, many other past lives, right? Probably past lives as a woman, past lives as you know, somebody like in Africa, or you know, different colored skin, you know, whatever. European past lives, maybe some American past lives as well. But I have some vague memories and some ideas of people I was possibly in a past life, and I know I had something, you know, at least one or two lives in India, probably many more, and some of those lives were longer lives. You know, it's pretty vague, and it's not something that's a slam dunk and I can prove, but I know there's past lives, and I've explained the logic behind this, but also, you know, people's familiarity and things, and you meet people like you feel like you've known them for a very long time, and you just met them. And Master Charji, the third master of the Sajmark system, said you can't have a conversation more than 3 minutes with a person you haven't had a past life with, which I thought was interesting. Again, that was, you know, somebody told me that, but that kind of sounded right to me. There's people that you immediately feel some connection with, and other people that there's just nothing there. And the connection doesn't always have to be positive, but it's, you know, you feel like there's some people that sort of stay in your life and they're important to you, and then there's other people that just not so much, but, you know, they're still there. And then other people that are just always going to be strangers to you. There's just no connection. And then there's connections to places. People go to places and they feel like they've been there before, or they feel comfortable there. So there's just things about, like, you know, your own experience that can tell you that this isn't your first time. But there's no DNA aspect to this. Like, you're not going to incarnate as a family member. You're not going to incarnate usually in the same family, the same genetic line. I know the royal family and people in the Freemasonic tradition, some of these other traditions, believe that to be true. And maybe they can work it out somehow on a soul level, but it's not the way it works naturally. You know, the way it works naturally, you incarnate in the best possible situation to further your spiritual evolution. And so that is going to be whatever, you know, race you're in, whatever, you know, country you're in, whatever demographics, whatever your physical needs are. You know, maybe you need to be a weak physical person with lots of illnesses just to benefit spiritually for some reason, right? To depend on God more. Whereas being a strong person, you're less dependent on God because you feel healthy, and, you know, there's just all these things that are wired into your system, and, you know, to help you benefit, you know, the most possible benefit, derive the most benefit out of your situation here on planet Earth. And so, you know, it's kind of interesting, like somebody posted the video, but there's all this New Age crap, and, you know, people just don't know anything. A lot of times people just make stuff up when they don't know. And then other people jump on it, and it becomes a, you know, it becomes a truth because lots of people believe in it. There was this time I was in Asheville, North Carolina, which is a very heavily saturated with New Age kind of thinking. Very liberal town in a sort of a more, you know, a red state. You know, a state that's traditionally was red, and now it's a little bit more liberal. But this is one of the more liberal places. And we were into like this big crystal shop. They had these giant genodes of like amethyst crystals that were like 5-6 feet high. I mean, they have a lot of them. It's like, you know. And we were in this crystal shop years and years ago. This is, you know, my previous marriage and all this. And there's an old guy talking to a young guy about aliens and spirituality. And I knew that these were things that people talked about. And I knew they were BS, like they were completely not true. And it's just stuff that people think they know, but it isn't personal knowledge. You know, it's just like anything else. People belong to a group, and that group gets a sort of, you know, belief system. It's happened here in the truth community. And things that aren't true get accepted as truths. And then when you challenge those truths, people call you a shill here, or, whatever it is in your particular group, but it's not based on facts or anything real. And so, it's hard to, in terms of experience of past lives and getting to understand it, most of the information you're going to find is just like garbage. But, you can tell things that you feel comfortable with, things that you feel that there's some sort of a connection. Some things are going to stand out. Some people are going to stand out, like I said earlier. And that's one way to tell. That's one way to see that there's been a connection with people and places and activities or whatever in some previous existence. And whatever that means, whatever that, how that plays out beforehand, maybe here on planet Earth or maybe some other place or whatever. Your soul is eternal. Your soul is created at the beginning of creation, and in most cases your soul will be there at the end of this, when the universe implodes back into itself. And your lives are temporary, so there's this aspect of it. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this one up here. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely pointing from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.